everybody. I'm Victor Brooks, and welcome back to the Victor Brooks Show Facebook Live series. You know what? Thank you all so much. And, Wendy and I and our other co-producers, Christopher Brooks, my brother, and my sister, Julie McKnight, we were talking the other day and how much of a blessing it is that we are now just 3 weeks into a full year of joining you every Sunday. And we were reminiscing on the times when we were doing Saturday and Sunday, like 2 shows back to back. And it was at the height of that, that whole quarantine thing, where we were dealing with those 2 viruses that we talked about before, that coronavirus and that virus of racism. You remember the protest and the whole thing that was happening in 2020. And we all, like I said before, we just wanted to come together and do what we did with each other and our individual families, which was just talk with each other, just get on the phone and do the love check, as our brother Larry Dodson says, and just, remind each other that there's always something to smile about. There's always a blessing to count, no matter what we're going through in these times, especially during 2020, and to know that you're still with us. We know that a lot of you, as I start my watch party here, which I invite you to do also every time, start those watch parties so that we can keep the love going. And we're so proud to know that our Positivity Posse is grown around the world in this year also. Our people over at 17 at 7 in Saint-Denis, France, we thank you for being there with us from the beginning. We thank the Antonio Carlos Jobim collective there out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado, meu irmão, meus irmãos, por sua coração. Muito obrigado por seu tempo. Hoje, muito obrigado. Muito respeito, Brasil. And saudade também. I just said thank you so much from the heart. Our heart is full, and much love and much respect. But we have our people who join us still out of Chicago, out of Memphis, Tennessee, our Positivity Posse. Thank you all so much. And happy Mother's Day. Today, this weekend, Mother's Day for our mothers. And even though we know that every day is a Mother's Day, every day that we can say we love you and put our arms around them. And now that the many of us are doing the shot and we're doing what we can do to put our arms around our mothers again, that's another blessing. And on this day, it's, give that extra count of a blessing, give that extra count of the memories that were created, give of everything that brings you joy on Mother's Day, and much love and much respect to every single mother out there. Thank you for joining us today. I want to give an incredible shout out to and an honor for someone who is right here, joined us right now, Sister Carrie Lucas, the queen herself, soul queen of Solar Records, Miss Carrie Lucas. It is much respect. Happy Mother's Day, Mama Carrie, and thank you for coming and joining us today. And thank you for sharing your beautiful daughter, Carolyn, as one of my sisters from another mister, and much respect to you and your career and your legacy, Mom Carrie. And all of the other, I believe Frida Payne was going to try to come on today. We have the Emotions fan page is always with us. Thank you all. And to my sister, Wanda Vaughn, thank you, girl. I love you. Wendy, come on out here so we can give these love shout outs of these beautiful people lining up here today. Hey, girl.
I love that. We are celebrate good times. Come on. Right? Happy Mother's Day.
You see Mama Carrie Lucas on here today with us.
I did. Oh my gosh. We can't wait to have you on the show. Oh my Lord. Oh, it's just beautiful and talented. Oh, wow.
That's right. How you doing today on Mama's Day, girl? Where's your mama at? What's that sister doing today?
My mom is having a ball already. Her festivities started yesterday with Whitney and me. Whitney got her one of those really cool, y'all know on Instagram, they have those, they call them 3D greeting cards. And for Mother's Day, you pull this little thing out. We did get a little video of her pulling it out, and the confetti flies in her face and everything. Boy, We were cracking up.
That's fantastic.
She loved it.
Fantastic.
So
What are some of your, before we get into the other, what are some of your favorite memories for Mother's Day?
Oh, well, one Mother's Day that sticks out was in 2013. Wyan, Whitney, Warren, and myself. Was that all of us? Wyan, Whitney, Warren, yeah, me. So many W's.
I got you, girl. I got you.
So we were all at the Glendale house and we were just hanging out with Mom. She didn't want any big fanfare. She just wanted her babies there. We were working out on the balcony and then we all went and got ice cream. I piled everybody into my little convertible and we went down the street and brought everybody some ice cream back and just had communion and have fun, boy.
Oh man. See, that's like I said, Mother's Day, this one day, is fantastic. It's out of sight. But if we give that love every single day, and if one thing that 2020 and this whole thing has taught us, hug the ones you love.
Hug them.
Pick up that phone and call them, and say, hey, I love you, thinking about you, how you doing,
Yep.
So this is and you know what, Wendy, this is such a special day because my mama's here today. We got Saundra Snookie Brooks is on here today. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just jump right into this show. Yes. And we have our shout out today, ladies and gentlemen. The fantastic jazz musician, Ollie Howe, has taken his time. He's coming out of the UK and logging in with us today, right at the end of the interview with Saundra Snookie Brooks. And you know what, y'all? It is such an honor to have this man come on here, this jazz musician. Wendy, you've been checking out this stuff too?
I have. I mean, I was mesmerized, just had it going and I had to keep looking back like, all right, okay now. He is so young. Oh my gosh, amazing. So you all are in for an absolute treat with him.
You are.
And so we have our guest of honor. Oh, I see that her audio is on and her video is connecting.
Okay. And I definitely, it's going to, we put together, of course, her bio, but Chris, Julie, and I sat down and we said, well, we're putting this bio together. She has her professional bios and her what have you, but we said, let's put our own bio together, Mama, And we're going to, as soon as you give me the okay, we're going to go ahead and read that bio.
You're going to read that bio with her right here on the screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's my mama, Saundra Snookie Rice Brooks. Mom.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Hello. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and read this bio right now while you're on camera, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And gentlemen, Saundra, this beautiful woman you see right here in front of you, Saundra Snookie Brooks, AKA my mama, as our affectionate brother Clifton Davis made famous, that's my mama. Blood daughter of her father, the powerful Edward Snags Rice of Dayton, Ohio, and her mother, Mary Turney of Dayton, Ohio, and Germantown, Ohio. Later, knowing the jazz legend Norris Turney as her father figure throughout her life. After the marriage between Norris and her mother, Mary Nana Turney, raised in the protective and loving arms of her grandmother, Grandma Mildred Hicks Dale in Germantown, Ohio, surrounded by her equally loving cousins, those gospel legends themselves, the Wright family, WRIGHT, also of Germantown, Ohio. Saundra Lee is also a proud member of the beautiful and talented, powerful Rice siblings out of Dayton, Ohio. Also with her, including her sisters Margaret Rice, Linda Willingham, and Tawanna Crawford. Her pride is enhanced as the niece of the one and only Leonard Barrett. You got it, also of Dayton, Ohio. Saundra Brooks is the wife, friend, foundation, ride or die, Bonnie to her Clyde, Pastor Victor Brooks Sr. of Baltimore, Maryland. Their marriage has stood the test of time for 58 years and counting. Our mother, Saundra Brooks, is no doubt the caring, dedicated, loving, protective mother of yours truly, Victor Brooks II, Christopher Brooks, and Julie Brooks McKnight. For all three of us, God truly blessed all three of us to be mothered, loved, protected by this queen. In addition to her pricelessness as mother, Saundra Snookie Rice Brooks is also credited in these ways. A former U.S. government top grade professional, an 80s and 90s Hollywood executive mover and shaker, a visual artist, a singer, a performer, a proud member of the broad-burning, socially necessary and mind-changing women's equality movement, AKA Women's Live movement of the 1970s, empowering and educating herself and other women to recognize the power of self-realization as women, being just as talented, qualified, and individualistic as men. A community activist in Memphis, Tennessee, creating and constructing the first clothing and food distribution center at the Longview Heights Seventh-day Adventist Church. Saundra is also co-owner and co-creator of Youthville USA, along with her husband, Pastor Victor Brooks Sr., dedicating their lives and her life to the care and attention for at-risk and in-need youth. It gives my brother Chris, our sister Julie, and immense pride to welcome our mother, Saundra Snookie Brooks, to the Victor Brooks Show today. What's happening, Mom?
Hey, all right. Thank you so much, son. All right.
That is dynamite.
Yes, Wendy and I could not wait for this show today, Mom. That's right. And you know what, Mom, before we get started, somebody wants to give you a special Mother's Day hello today.
Oh, okay.
Can we bring that special out here to give a hello, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, we can.
Lining up.
Okay.
Oh, who is that? Ladies and gentlemen, Clifton Davis to the show today. We welcome you.
Margaret Snookie Brooks, my dear friend of so long. I just wanted to say happy Mother's Day to you, dear friend, and to let the whole world know that you are an example of what spreading love really means. You've done so with so many people, with your family. And by the way, Vic, your mama came on to be my executive assistant at on Amen. When I was filming from 1986, she stayed with me till 92 and 93 as my executive assistant. And wow, I could not have had a better assistant. How are you, Snook?
I'm doing just fine, Clifton. I'm so glad that you came on here. You know what? Let me say something. When you talked about me being on the show, this is one reason I love you. Because I did something and you didn't. Let me tell just real quick. Clifton plays golf, you know. Yeah. He plays golf. He's, real big in the golf tournaments and what have you. And one day I got a call and I made the arrangements. He's flying here, there, and this is what he wants in his room, so forth and so on. And then the young lady, she called back, Clifton, she did. She called back the next day and she said, I just need one more piece of information. She said, I need to know Mr. Davis's handicap. That kind of threw me for a loop. I'm thinking, what? So I said, I tell you what, I said, I'll have him call you tomorrow, okay? And apparently Clifton didn't have a chance to get right back to her. Right. So she calls me again and says, I need that information as to his handicap. And I said, well, just let me share this with you. I said, I've known Clifton most of our lives, and I've worked with him for nearly 3.5 years now. I don't see that he has a handicap. I don't see that he. Well, she was polite. She didn't say anything. But then when Clifton called her, and they laughed. And I appreciate the fact that he realized that I was not really up on golf. what handicap meant. But I had to think hard on it. I said, Clifton, now I think you need to talk to him. Because I don't know what's your handicap. You don't look like you have one. So maybe. And he just laughed and,
handicap is a term that reflects what your average score is above par. And so handicap at the time was about 12. And 12 shots above par was what I usually scored. But poor Snook, she had no idea what that meant.
y'all just educated me because I was like, oh.
But hey, I didn't know. And
That's right. That's right.
Feel bad for not knowing. Right. He hugged me and said, "That's
well,
all
this woman is the most phenomenal singer. She is. I have never had a better friend than Saundra Snookie Brooks and her husband of 58 years, Victor Brooks Sr., who has been my friend for, good Lord, 60 years at least.
Wow.
Right.
I have to confess, it's been a while.
It's been a while, brother.
And I met Saundra soon, right after they got married. So it was before you were born, Victor.
That's right, brother. That's right. Yeah. But you know what, Clifton, man, thank you, big brother, for coming on today and giving love to your sister, to Saundra Snookie Brooks. And I know you're there with your Mother's Day celebration as well. Yes. And brother, thank you. We love you. We respect you there. And thank you for being here, brother.
Hey, we love you. And Saundra, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
All right.
Bye.
Was that a treat or what?
That was awesome. I just learned something new every day. I didn't know that you guys went back like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what, Mom? You know what I know when we were putting the bio together today? Well, yesterday, actually. Mm-hmm. Chris and I and Julie and I were like, you know what? One of the reasons we wanted to preface the bio as mother, but as you know, most of what we read there, what you've shown us, Mom, in your life, is that the word mom or that position mother has its own immense part of someone's life, i.e. your children. But as a mother and the type of woman that you have been and are, and professional, artist, what we just heard with Clifton and things of that nature, Mom, me and Chris and Julie, we said, have we ever asked Mom, what was it like? I was born in 1965. Chris was born in 1968, the year Martin Luther King was assassinated. Julie was born, and I wanted to, but she was born at the beginning of the flower child years and where we were living in Pennsylvania. So those stages of life as a Black woman, as a mother, as an artist, mothers sometimes get lost that we also are someone with what things that we have dreamed, we have passion. What was it like, Mom, as a Black woman, as a mother, having a child and children in the late 60s? What was that all about?
Oh man, that was a period that was really a struggle for Black folks and Black women. I knew I wanted a career, but I also wanted children. And I wanted to have a child so bad. And when you came along, I was so happy I was pregnant, and I'd stand and hold my stomach out so I wasn't about 2.5 months pregnant, but I wanted folks to see I'm pregnant, And it was rough because I wanted a career and I had to juggle being the mother and wife all along. And I had to make decisions. I got really involved in the women's rights movement. During that time, I needed to feel that I was able to handle things if something were to happen to your father. And I was left here by myself with 3 kids. And it came to me one time when he was public relations director at Oakwood and toured with the Aeolians, the choir.
Right.
And he was gone for 3 weeks. He put together the first album that they ever had called Oh Freedom. That was his baby. And it made sense for them to have an album to tour with. But in the meantime, I'm home for 3 weeks with my children. And I said, oh, Lord, I got to step it up. You know, okay, got to step it up. I got to really start thinking about a career so my children can look at me and feel comfortable, safe, knowing that their mother is on top of things and able to make decisions. But I got really wrapped up in the civil rights. And part of that is because I had experienced prejudice. You know, when you go to look for a job back then and you know you qualified. And I remember one time I'm standing in front of a receptionist. And if she looked up at me, you did. She just, you know, and, you know, she was white. And she did not acknowledge me one way or another. And I said, one of these days, of course, I stood there until she had to, you know, pay attention. But I said, one of these days, I'm going to get my foot in the door in personnel. I'm going to chart my course to get into EEO offices because I want to be there. I want to be on the inside to see what's going on. And you know, what's going on? I want to be on the inside to see everything. And that helped me build. But in the meantime, I got a family. I got a husband. And sometimes I thought about, wow, you know, I'm missing out. I might be, what do the kids think? I'm gone. One job I had to travel to investigate cases outside of Memphis. But your father just said, you know, do what you need to do.
Right on.
You know, and that was paramount because if he had said, oh, I want you to be gone and I got to be here and blah, 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 then that would have been a problem. But I became totally liberated to my fault in a way.
I got you. Now, Wendy, I saw your eyes light up when we mentioned the women's lib and women's empowerment. And then, Mom, hearing the story, like me and Chris and Julie said, these are some things we never really heard before, what you just mentioned to us now. But Wendy, as a young Black female, what is that?
Wow, I'm very. You all are like major celebrities to me, and when I say celebrity, because that's the closest thing I think in our country that we hold at that kind of esteem, but it's that royal way about you all. I mean, and Uncle Vic, you and Uncle Chris and Auntie Julie are so laid back and chill. And I mean, from the very beginning of us doing the show together, the caliber of people that are your relatives and your close friends, and from Muhammad Ali and, you know, having Mimi on and all that, your family clearly starting from your mom and your dad, they were powerhouses doing amazing things and raising families. I mean, looking at this, I'm floored because your dad supported your mom in going to work and raising a family and being a wife. And I know my granddad, my grandmother wanted to be a nurse so bad, and he just wanted her to be home with the kids. Like, no. I mean, that was really what he wanted, and she respected that. And we live in my grandmother's house. I wear her necklace every day. And I know she had this other thing she wanted to do that she never was not permitted, because they had a different relationship and she respected them, you know, but just you having that support, Snookie, how did that feel? Because I don't know if you have friends, did they get that same kind of support from their husbands?
No, not all of them. And during the time, part of the time, Dad was in the ministry. So I'm first lady, you know. And so, but here I am going all around fighting discrimination. But Dad was home, and I was fortunate during that time that my mother and father-in-law were there. So I had a unit around me that allowed me to do what I wanted to do. And Dad, he's smart. He knew certain things in my life. He needs to just let me play them out. Right. Play it out. This too shall pass. But I did the whole EEO thing for years. for years, and I was able to do it, but I got so wrapped up in the in the civil rights movement at the different stages. And at one point, I realized I'm fighting out here for racial justice, all this. And then here comes the women. That movement came in. And I said, oh, okay, well, we got to stick together. We got to fight together. And I looked up and here's the Black man was just getting pushed further down because now here's the white women fighting for their rights. They're getting hired before me and him. But then I was getting hired back in the day when they got credit, and they didn't mind, it was obvious. They got 1 point if they hired a Black person, they got another point if they hired a woman. So now, the women are out here just eating up everything. And the
Wait,
Black
I'm so sorry. When you say a point, are you talking about the companies got points for hiring? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were made to do the right thing, and so they wanted to be sure the government sees them hiring. But the women's movement kind of start really affecting the Black man. And it was just made obvious to us, the Black women that were out there. You got to respect that Black man. If you don't even know him and you see him walking down the street, say hello, or how you doing today? Keep moving. You don't have to. And one lady said, well, wait a minute now. They might think we're trying to get off with them. I said, well, that's up to you to let them know you're not trying to get off with them. You just speak. That's right. But that was important to try to build that Black man up because he's out qualified, and now he's dealing with the white women, the Black women, and I'm still not getting ahead because companies were forced to do the right thing. Gotcha. And you know what, Wendy? Back in the day, one thing when I started to work in personnel, I had applications that would come across my desk. That was back in the 60s, Vic was middle. And I noticed, I was a typist at the time. I noticed some of the applications had a C on it. So I finally wondered, why did some of them have a C? Well, that's how they knew that person was of color that applied for a job. And then when my husband had an employment agency, we decided to really get in this thing big. He ended up with an private employment agency, and he took it over from somebody. They had different colored paper for Black folks. The white paper was white people. The green or blue paper was people of color. So that's why it was
unbelievable.
It was important to get in there, there so you can see.
You know what, Mom? I'm so glad I answered that. I mean, I asked that question because your answer, like I said before, these are things me and Chris and Julie did not know. We've never heard this. We're hearing it. Some of it we were equated to over a life, but the depth of it, of that, as you putting yourself as a young Black female, now mother, through this life, navigating your life. Now, outside of professionalism, Mom, there's no question that me and Julie and Chris, our artist spirit comes directly from you. You just pop that out to us, right? So Wendy, my mom, I can remember, and the older I became, and then the older as we grew up, Wendy, me and Chris and Julie started saying, wait a minute, now I see, well, remember how Mom used to just could look out the window and could just sit there and look at the trees, look at the birds. She could feel this thing that a lot of people would be missing, but that was the artist in our mother growing up. Those were the things that once we started growing into our artistry, Mom, we started to identify with that. I remember you telling us, Mom, stories growing up with your cousins, the Wright family, Germantown, how you all would sit under the tree. And you would, the thing of nature. And I know that a lot of your art, and ladies and gentlemen, let me put this at you real quick. Let me show y'all something. Wendy, check this out.
What? Let me see.
Now, this is an original from my mama,
Oh
right
my
here.
God.
All right. And this is from a still picture. All right. These are Cheryl and I's two sons, Victor and Benjamin. And we stopped over, and this was their first time in North Carolina as growing up to understand what life, you know, and where they were, what have you. They were, of course, in the cotton patch. And they're sitting there walking through, and they're hearing the stories of ancestry and heritage. And we took the picture. This is my mother's rendition of that moment.
Oh.
Let me show you another one. Yeah, y'all, I'm bragging today.
I love this.
I was in Lisbon, Portugal, with my brother Zay Ricardo, and Julie and I were doing a show in Lisbon. And there was an off day, and I was first time in Lisbon, was walking through, I think I was going to get some cherry wine or something. But we were walking through this little cobblestone street, Wendy. And I remember in my mind, you know, what it was. It was so the Lisbon that you would think growing up, that one day I want to experience this little street, these little shops. So as soon as I got back to the hotel, I called my mom. I said, Mom, and see, that's that artist connection. I couldn't get it out of my mind. So I called Mom, and I just started breaking. I said, Mom, the street looked like this. The people were standing here, Mom. The buildings were this far from each other, yada, yada, yada. Well, this is just from the conversation that we had.
Oh my goodness, I got chills. I literally got chills.
You know? So, Mom, the artist in you, and I just showed you all the visual art, okay? We haven't even gotten into the singer and the performer. But Mom, your artisticness, when did you realize you were an artist, that you had that in you?
I used to draw, you know, with pencil all the time when I was little, and Grandma would let me draw on the refrigerator, draw on everything. And that was just part of my life. But when I got older, my mother, happy Mother's Day, Mom, she's here, 96 years old. She said, you can paint. I said, no, I don't think I can paint this. I know how to sketch. I know how to do this. She said, you can paint. And she showed me some birds that she had painted after she left one job and didn't have anything else to do right then. She started painting. So really, she's the one that encouraged me. And I'm realizing I got that talent from her. And I started painting, and I just, you know, just went with it. I threw Mom.
Go ahead, Wendy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm so, because that Portugal picture, wow, and the way the cotton looked with the boys in there, it was so nicely intricate. I mean, but that's just like a natural thing that you got into. Were you painting before you were singing, or were you singing before you were painting?
I was singing before I realized I could paint. I just realized I had that talent when I guess it was about 2009.
Oh, wow. So wait, okay, that's amazing. I want to hear, of course, about the singing, because when Uncle Vic told me that you were out there singing and doing your stuff on, was it Apollo? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
I mean, at that caliber, I mean, like, but that was much later. Like, did you grow up in church singing? Is that what I'm understanding with your family?
Church music all around me. Yes, indeed. And the Apollo thing was something that just happened. I was 17, and my stepfather Norris, I was in New York with Mom and Norris for a few weeks, and he said, before you leave, why don't you go down to amateur night at the Apollo? Wow. And I thought, oh, I don't know about that. And he said, yeah, you know, he said, it's something you can do. And, you know, I said, well, nobody knows me. And so if I get booed off by the Sandman, it really won't matter, because nobody will see it. And I went down there. He asked me, he said, do you know For All We Know? I said, no, because I was into Little Richard, James Brown, and all that. And he said, let me teach you For All We Know. and he taught it to me, dropped me off down there. And I went in, and that's when I realized, thinking back, there's a side of me that will take a chance. You know, I didn't really realize how adventurous I really am. But to go walk in there, didn't know a soul, went on in, the man hit the key, it was my tune. I went on, sang the song, and didn't get booed off. And so I said, well, that's good. And now, you know, the winner was Aretha Franklin. So to come up second place wasn't too bad.
Wasn't too bad at all.
But it was like, you know, it was one of those, been there, done that. And I didn't really, I went on back to Ohio. I got a card in the mail asking me if I was going to come back. And I didn't do it. In fact, I didn't even tell my family that at home that I even did it, you know. And so, you know.
I love that story, Wendy. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. Yeah.
I didn't know.
See the people when you look back, Mom. I mean, we have Sister Helena Titus. Oh, love you, Helena and Patty from LA. They're saying stunning. Aunt Jack Winston out there in Atlanta. Wow, these are things we never, you know, a lot of even family, you know. But growing up, now I know you growing up in gospel music with, I mean, the legendary, you know, Aunt Eleanor Wright. I mean, come on, as your mentor, right? Coming up and then the Blend Wrights, all of that. Now, in the gospel and that feel of it, Wendy, I'm so glad you asked that question, girl, because now it's opening up some other things that I remember hearing and noticing growing up. That gospel tutelage that you had under these incredible artists. Mentioning again, Aunt Eleanor and the Blend Wrights, okay. What was it that drew you, or because Mom, you and I bond really about the blues and soul, Johnny Taylor. Mom, come on, Mom, you from you Ohio. That is the home of the funk. So there's a lot of the funk players here. My mama, I can remember when we were little, Mom and Dad would be pumping the Ohio players. Okay, they would be listening to the soul and the funk, you know, as and pastor.
Yes.
So how did you not allow that to separate, Mom? That it was just strictly gospel, right? That it wasn't just strictly gospel. Your love of it all.
Oh, I loved all music because Mom had stacks and stacks of the jazz greats, you know, Ella Fitzgerald, all everybody from that era. And I knew all those little songs when I was like 16 or so. House is not a home. And, you know, I knew those songs. And, you know, but it's something about gospel that, I don't know, it's the beat, and I've been criticized down through the years by some folks to say, Sister Brooks, she's singing all that gut bucket gospel music. She might as well be singing in a bar somewhere, singing the blues. Well, hey, you know, I mean, it's all the way you look at it. And I just went right on and sang what I felt inspired to sing. And yeah, that's what it was. But I like jazz, but I like gospel and I like the blues. There.
I can remember that. I remember that, especially living in Memphis, you know. And I remember once y'all ladies, Positivity Posse, I was supposed to be going to choir rehearsal when I first got my driver's license, all right? 16 years old. Yeah. So the church was on one part of town, but Beale Street, the home of the blues area, was on a whole nother part of town. So I can remember by the time I had my driver's license, y'all, I could not wait to get to Beale Street on my own. Or sometimes I'd get there and it was on Friday night. That was another cursor. So I would detour and go over to Beale Street, Wendy, and I'd sit in and watch from the back, watch Al Green and Larry Nauld and the Barkays and Stax people, you know, doing their thing. Lo and behold, I never knew that one of the church members had told my mom and dad, well, you know, he ain't been to choir rehearsal.
Oh no!
That is why, you know. Baby Blues. Tell them what the name was. Baby Blues.
They gave it a nickname, Baby Blues, after a while in Beale Street Girl. That's right. But Wendy, I remember Wanda talking about that transfer as an artist from church.
Yes.
Into soul realm, you know? So does that bring something when you hear Mom talk about this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was Mahalia Jackson, and growing up singing with my, granddad, her dad. They that's all they did. And then slowly but surely, a lot of the people they were around, that was where they all came from too. So they were on, I know, a show of Lou Rawls, and I know he came out of church as well, and they still singing kind of like with him leading. That was one thing that was kind of interesting when they really first started coming out. Even when they sang with other people outside of their dad, they would have a male, and then they would be singing kind of like accompanying him, because that's how they would sing with my granddad, Papa Joe. He'd be playing, guitar, and they'd sing, and then they just took off, of course, and started doing just the three of them and all that. So you can hear, that's the thing that you said, that gospel, you can hear that no matter what they sing, you can hear that come out of them. Auntie Sheila, though, loved the jazz. So you can really hear that jazzy in her way that she, delivers stuff. So,
right.
But I just love that. I mean, so do you still sing around the house, or do you sing anywhere?
I sing around the house sometimes.
Sorry.
You do? Oh, that's good.
Sorry, we had a delay. But Mom, I remember growing up, one of the favorite songs I used to love to hear you sing, still to this day, is By and By. By and by. Wendy, let me tell you something. By and by that great day, Christ shall come. By and by, I want to be somewhere around the throne. Woo! Yeah. Even to this day, even just saying those lyrics right now, I get this emotional feeling that I remember watching my mother sing this in church, and then watching the reaction of the people who were hearing it. The soul, when it's incredible being a child and watching your mother sing this song or sing anything, and then knowing what it's doing to you, but then you happen to look around in the church, or you look around the auditorium and you see others' tears start to fall. You see people who go into their own praise of their self, hearing what they're being blessed with from your mother. Ooh, it stays with you, because I'm feeling it again right now, Mom.
Yes.
Well, that's I got two songs that mean a lot to me, and one is God Bless the Child That's Got His Own.
Yes.
But By and By, I heard that, I don't remember if it was Clara Ward or the Davis sisters.
Yep.
Davis sisters. I was about 13, and I went to Eleanor, my aunt, and I said, I want to learn this song. Yeah. And she played it. And I would sing it and sing it and sing it. I've been singing it for 60 years. There, but it's a testimony to me, because I feel like anybody, especially Christians, with all that's going on around here in this world today, we have to have a hope. We got our faith, that it helps us maintain and strive for a better day. Now, I don't know why God does some of the things he does and allows certain things to happen that seem like, why did he let that happen like that? Yes. Especially if there's a tragedy or whatever. But anyway, it's a testimony.
It is. Mom, you know what I'm gonna ask, Mama?
What?
Wendy, give me that vibe till you beam in on the.
Yeah, I was wondering if we can get a taste, a little taste, Mama Snookie. I've only heard a little bit of a YouTube clip. Y'all, this is a singer's favorite thing to do. That's one of the things.
Oh yes.
You sing that.
And then let me hope I hit the right note to come in. It won't be too hard.
And I got you back.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. When my work on earth is done, I'm going home to live with God. All of my troubles will be over. That's when I'll make up a brand new start. And on that morning, when I rise, shake the dust from my feet and wipe my weeping eyes. I know my troubles soon be over when I get home. By and by, that day, Christ shall come. By and by, I want to be standing somewhere around the throne. Oh, by and by, that's when I'll make up a brand new start. It may be early in the morning when I get home. Vic, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I have faith in my God. And I know he'll help me when everything else goes wrong. Sometimes I'm burdened. I just slip down to pray. I feel the Spirit move my heavy load away. And on that great judgment day, Lord, I'll be so glad just to hear my Savior say, you know you'll be the task is over. And now you're welcome home. Sing it, Mama.
By and by, that day Christ shall come.
That day Christ shall come.
Oh, by and by.
Yes, Lord.
I want to be standing somewhere around the throne. Oh, by and by. That's when I'm going to make a brand new start. It may be early in the morning.
Yes.
It may be early in the morning. It may be early in the morning when I get home.
Yes.
That was a little high, but we made it.
Wow, y'all sound amazing.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something. Woo! Mama, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for trusting me to be here. That I wouldn't,
We couldn't have it any other way on this beautiful Mother's Day celebration. You have brought the world 3 beautiful children. And
yes.
I mean, that is, and then all of the people that you've given your love to, all of your, when we say not maybe blood, but definitely in the soul. Right, I know my dad is the recipient of it. I know we have too. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You know what? We got our brother.
Thank y'all.
Javon Pearson is giving love. We love you, Jay. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Candace Woodson. Thank you. Oh, it's just lining up, Mom. We got France.
I know.
Love. Mama, when God sat up there and said, you know what? Here's the life of Victor, Chris, and Julie. We got to pick somebody. Who are we going to give these precious ones to?
Oh, Lord.
And he picked you. He knew what he was doing when he gave you us. Whew.
Yes, I feel blessed.
Yes.
Every day somebody's got children who love them.
Yeah.
And Dad and I know that you guys love us.
Right, we
And
do.
that's very important.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm so thankful that my mother
Yes.
is here at 96. Now,
Wow.
that's the one
That's
you need
it. That's
to be
right.
talking to, Diamond Lil. I mean, this
Diamond Lil, Wendy, that's her nickname. That's
Diamond Lil.
Diamond Lil.
New York City. Oh,
I
yes.
mean, her running partners were the Duke Ellingtons and the
Wow.
Billie Holidays, the Cotton Club, the whole, that was her life. And to be able to hear those stories passed down from Nana, Yeah, we gotta get that.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, we gotta do that. Just have a little family affair or something.
Well, Mama, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
The treat, the Positivity Posse thanks you for being here. And I know we got some eating to do,
Y'all gonna be over there soon.
Oh,
I can smell it here in Los Angeles.
That's right.
We feel you. Feel you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Positivity Posse, thank you for taking this time and spending it with my mama, Saundra Snookie Brooks, Saundra Rice Snookie Brooks, and all of our family in Germantown, Ohio, the WRIGHT family, and our family in Dayton, Ohio, the Rices in Dayton, Ohio. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the blessing of family. And Wendy, it is such a better time. I can't think of a better time to talking about family, how our family here at the Positivity Posse has grown to the UK and around the world, and how this gentleman, a master of his craft, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Holly Howe, who is coming, that took his time to join us all the way from the UK to spend this Mother's Day with us. And let me tell you, hey, there he is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one and only Holly Howe.
Sorry, I was listening to your mum, man, and just being blown away by it all. That was amazing.
Oh, thank you, brother.
That was emotional.
Yes.
I've got her up here on YouTube waiting to listen to it again. That was insane.
Oh, man. Well, you know, Ollie,
Miss Snookie Brooks, when I get home.
That's her, man. When I get home.
Yeah.
You know what, Ollie, when you hear the music of gospel, brother, and I know you are a jazz aficionado, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When I first heard Ollie Howe, the first call I made after I saw his clip was Wendy. And I said, Wendy, we have got to see if we can get this gentleman on here, because jazz, as you heard my mother, Ollie, is deep with us, man. I mean, that's
I've been listening. You've got more in it. You know more about it than I do.
Well, what feeds your soul with jazz, brother? What made that the mastery of your art right now?
I mean, gospel is a huge part of it, which is why the jazz that I play isn't. I mean, it's got elements of bebop and it's got elements of all sorts of things, but like gospel has been a massive part of what I love about jazz. Growing up with listening to artists like Oscar Peterson, and him was such a huge influence on me, and so much of his music is gospel based jazz, but I think when I was growing up, I was listening to I'm actually a bit older than I look, and I grew up in the 80s listening to all sorts of stuff, from Michael Jackson to hip hop to jazz. And the stuff that really stood out for me was the R&B chords, the gospel chords that would seep their way into R&B and to funk and to pop music. If you listen to any kind of really good pop from that era, you've got these really sweet jazz chords coming in. And when you hear a bridge in an R&B sort of classic, and you're like, where are these chords coming from? It's coming from gospel with jazz influences. So it was like that's what would get my ears going. And then I just had a select few jazz CDs, and I just listened to them over and over and over and over again until that language just was within me for moving forward as much as I could sort of retain it.
You know what, brother? You just gave us an insight into your Ollie Howe-ness.
Yes.
The language that you have begun to speak, you're speaking it to the world, you're speaking it to us, man. And we truly appreciate it, what you're giving us. And Wendy, do we have something? Is it, well, I know
Yes,
technical, but can we try something here? I want to.
We have to play a little clip so you all on the Positivity Posse can get a taste. This is Mr. Ollie Howe. Oh, wow, that little clip. Hey, I was like, what happened? I love that. Just a little taste.
Now, you know what, that chord change on that drop, brother. I see what you're talking about. See, that's that right there. Oh, my goodness, man. Out of sight, Ollie. How, Ollie, I know the time difference is crazy, but, brother, it would be incredible if we could, in the future, put together at your convenience a whole episode of your journey, your music, you know. Would you come back and do that with us, man?
Absolutely, man. That'd be an absolute pleasure.
Yay!
Yeah.
Is there
we're looking, we're three English guys, but man, we're looking to you gospel musicians in America to get so much influence for the stuff that we're doing. You know, that's a huge part of where it's coming from. The level is so high out there, and you know, Luke, the drummer, is a gospel drummer at heart as well. Grew up in church, and you know, me and Marcus have got these sort of gospel influences. So together we got a good vibe. But you know, we're just sending each other videos of every day of gospel musicians in church in all over America, just going, wow, this is insane.
Wow.
Well, man, you know what? I just called it. I don't know where that popped out, but the Ollie Howness of it all is what.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is our new family member of the Positivity Posse, Mr. Ollie Howe, out of the UK. Brother, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, Positivity Posse, you know, you did it again, Positivity Posse. You joined us on this journey today. This journey to just pull away just for a little while to remind ourselves that there's always something we can smile about. There's always a blessing to count in these 24 hours, you know, in that I'm a PK, I'm a preacher's kid, but I'm not a preacher, you dig? I'm just somebody that's just like you, who's trying to make it through these 24 hours. And because we're human, we can forget that we do have something we can smile about. And when we come on and hear these stories that these incredible artists, Eddie Levert and Frida Payne and Melba and Wanda Vaughn and on, and whose names you may know, names you may not know, and stories you may have never heard before, but they told them for the first time with us. And we can hear those stories, and we can feel that warmth in our soul and our heart, you know. And then when we click off, and then we take it with us, y'all, for the rest of the week, and we think back on it, we give it to ourselves to feed on it, you dig? That we put it in our layaway bag of positivity, and that's what it's all about, y'all. Thank you so much. And next time, don't forget, y'all come on back and get some of this positivity on you. Take a bath in it. Take a shower in it. Scuba dive in it. Hey, if you want a skinny dip in it, do what you got to do. But whatever you do, when you come out of that pool of positivity, you sprinkle it on as many people as you can, because that's what it's all about. We love you, Positivity Posse, and we'll see you next time on the Victor Brooks Show.